similar one, and yeah, the gold one that you're wearing.
I don't know.
And my 12-year-old stepdaughter was like, "Oh, that's all over TikTok." I was like, "Oh, I just found it on Shein." But yes, you're trending.
Well,
I think this is old Stella and Dot. Is it really?
no, it's cute.
They're all over social media.
Wow.
Stella and Dot was ahead of their time, I suppose.
Very interesting.
Fun fact.
Thank you.
I'm cool. That's what I said too, and she told me, "Cool. One of the cool girls." Check that out. I only watch like 3 realtors and a mortgage broker on TikTok. I could probably branch out a little bit. Yeah, I can't keep up with all the social media platforms. It's too much.
I've never been on TikTok.
Yeah, I'm afraid I will get sucked in.
It is a black hole.
Yeah.
The only reason I got it is because I'm a big colorer.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really want to record one of my coloring videos and time lapse it.
Nice.
And so I was posting those for a while.
That's
but
cool.
when I switched over to real estate, I'm like, okay, no time for hobbies.
Not right now.
We'll get you some time for hobbies. That's why we're here.
Oh, is that what they're learning today? Balance?
I wouldn't call it balance. That's a strong word.
It's balance.
We're gonna do this in a minute, not yet. Okay, I saw Amanda online. Is anybody else online? Let me see. We love Amanda. Thanks for joining us, Amanda.
I love you guys.
I'm gonna actually turn you up so you can holler out if you want to. All right, we have a very diverse, multi-experience group, which I love, because I did plan this to be sort of everything. I'm gonna sit back like you said, I don't want it to be. It's hot machine. And Amanda, I don't have my screen shared yet because I don't really have slides, except for one small thing I'm gonna talk about. So in order to talk about modern leverage, we have to talk about leverage that we've been, oh, and you're in the office, right?
I am. I'm literally sitting in my office.
Fine. I have a handout over here if you want to come get one.
Okay, I'll come grab it.
That's fine. So my first 2 pages here are from the original MREA book. So new people, do you have an MREA book?
I don't. I need it.
I would get one.
Okay.
Billy's got them here at the front desk, and he will.
I have an extra one too.
Or no, yeah.
It may have stuff in it, but
I'll take your thoughts.
This one is actually new. I lost my original one, which made me sort of sad because I was kind of yeah. Here you go.
Party.
You can take these to an office supply store and have the binding cut off and have a spiral bound.
That's cool.
Which is, yeah, it's fun. And you can lay it flat when you're studying a certain part. And so Gary Keller laid out several models that if we follow those models, your business will be successful. Why not do what awesome people before us have done, right? And so today we're talking about leverage. And gosh, I'm umming a lot, but sorry. I'm working on my presentation skills, so I noticed when I So we've got basically a realtor's job description here. These are all the things that you're responsible for, and if you are the only person on your quote unquote team, whatever that looks like, this is what you do. So you guys are pretty familiar with that. The second page is the original path of hiring and building a team. So if you've ever heard anybody talk about, I want to get to 7th level, or this is what it's talking about. There's a poster of this upstairs in our training room. And this was laid out to most efficiently, economically hire and grow a team. So you're not doing a horse before a cart kind of situation. There's a lot of discussion about when you should hire your first assistant, all of that, and we're gonna talk about that plus some options for like medium-sized growth, because we have so many more options than when this was written in the 90s, which is really cool, and that's what I want to really focus on today. Most people don't have any aspirations of getting to 7th level. 7th level is when you're like not even working in your real estate business anymore, you just own it, and you've hired somebody to replace you to run it. And as you can see at the bottom, it's like a really big organization. Some people don't have those kinds of aspirations, and that's totally cool. Some people would be super happy getting to the 4th level. That's a very popular place that people kind of hang out because it's just an easy place. You can do a lot of business on the 4th level. You can do a ton of business on the 3rd level and be very highly profitable. That's a cool place to be too, is a single agent with 2 assistants. So, yeah.
What place are you in?
I'm usually on the 4th level.
Okay.
I had a lead listing specialist once. That was a disaster.
And now you don't.
And now I don't. So sometimes I drop back down to 3rd. And I'm doing all of the client work. But I'm usually hanging out on 4th. Yeah. Thank you. Good question. So one of the activities that I wanted to do really quick was to think about all of the stuff that we do. So just a quick brainstorm, like when you have a buyer, we're pulling listings in MLS to show, we're driving, we're what are we doing for buyers? Counseling, therapy.
Writing contracts.
Writing contracts, thank you. Negotiating contracts.
Can we say showing houses?
Showing houses. I said something like it, but I didn't say specifically showing houses, I don't think.
Communicate with the agent.
Communicate with the agent, set up showings with showing time and calling the agent, making sure there's no offers before you waste time going to see it.
Connecting them with the lender.
Connecting with the lender, giving the lender and the attorney copies of everything. Filling in your command opportunity. Going to the inspection, negotiating repairs. Closing, going to the closing, buying a closing gift. Making sure the appraisal gets done on time. There's probably at least 150 things. Right? So you guys can continue on that list later if you want, but just get thinking. Sellers, consult seller. Do market research.
Pricing,
Pricing,
staging, photography,
droning,
answer the phone.
answer the phone. She answers the phone.
Answer the phone.
Oh no, I'm out. Never mind.
Explaining offers, negotiating offers, talking to all the agents, getting feedback.
Perfect, getting feedback is a perfect one. Because right now, we aren't really getting feedback because it's under contract before, there's no time to even do it. So as our market shifts to whatever it's gonna shift to, you're gonna have sellers that are on the market 2 and 3 and 4, whatever weeks again, at some point in time. And we've gotten out of that habit, and that's really bad. And that's one of the biggest complaints of sellers in the normal market is I never heard what people thought. And you really have to be a bulldog and a pestering person to get feedback out of agents because
Balance phone.
ding, 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 ding. Let's see. Again, negotiating contracts, negotiating inspection, if there is one. Coordinating with the lender, with the attorney.
Sort of prospecting or doing your follow-up.
Doing your follow-up after. Yep.
Doing effective, like 7-level open houses.
7-level open houses, yes. And we're kind of starting to get into the things we do to run our business, which is the next column. Do a P&L, review the P&L. There we go. Oops. Talk back to me after the meeting.
Right, when taxes are due, you're supposed to do that, right?
A time block.
Time block, thank you. Lead generate, train. Market research, marketing, mail postcard, design flyer, create social media post, post social media, run social media ad, knock on doors, look up phone numbers and emails for potential clients, go to a networking event,
Preview houses.
preview houses, it's important, yeah. A lot of stuff. Anything else we do, other things that we do?
Continuing to build the database.
Yeah, continue to build your database. I can almost divide other things we do into two categories. My intention was clean my house, cook meals for my kids, do homework with my kid, mow the lawn, like all that could go on there, but also I had an agent friend that was making sure her client was taking her meds.
Wow.
Her meds.
Oh, wow.
That's not really in any of these first three categories. Probably something she could leverage.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. A lot of us overextend ourselves and do a bunch of extra crap that we don't need to be doing, you know, it's probably dangerous, like if you screw it up, that's not good, and also like somebody else should be doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, so circle the things that are your most, or tell me, your dollar productive activities. Lead gen.
Showing.
Negotiate.
That's right.
Marketing.
No, consult.
I would say consult is the same as negotiate, sort of.
Okay.
I would put it in my category. Second one is actually part of lead gen, and that's follow up. Lead gen, follow up, negotiate.
I mean, I'm blocked.
Thank you. Appointments, good job. Those weren't in order, but you got all four of them. Good job. So how awesome would your real estate business be if you could spend your entire workday doing just those four things? Because that's what you're good at, right? I listened to a non-real estate coach podcast, and she always talks about do what only you can do. So we're in this business because we're good negotiators and we're good lead generators, basically. And so if you do more of what you do and you focus on that 80%, I would say it's more like 90%, or 10%. I got that backwards. You're giving me a look, I'm sorry.
No.
I'm talking Keller already. So
I'm just intently focused on what you're saying.
at Keller Williams, we talk a lot about the 80-20 rule, that you should focus on the 20% of activities that produce 80% of your results.
Right.
And I would say that it is actually narrowing to be like the 10% of stuff you really need to do, and there's 90% of garbage, you know? And it's not garbage, it does need to be done. But how can you leverage some or all of it so that you can do more of what makes you money? Because designing a flyer does not make you money as much as I love doing it.
I hate it.
Oh, not design.
No.
You
I
like
ride on
doing
Canva.
you like doing the,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't, the design stuff kills me. I'll spend a day doing it and it's dumb, so.
I found my leverage for that is I just buy for $5 on Etsy and then I can reuse it next year.
yes,
Like-
ma'am.
Yeah, because I'll spend all day too.
Yes.
I'm like,
Okay, so let's talk. This
Okay.
page is purely for your note-taking pleasure and to remind me to talk about a few things. So you can go the traditional Keller Williams model of building your business like this. And actually, he's changed it a little bit. I can go over that in a second. But I think this this is more fun for Liz before she has to leave to talk about some of these. Yeah, cause he has changed how this builds a little bit. And it'd be great if you would put that book out.
Yeah. Nice.
So you can actually hire the person and you might be working towards that. Or you might not ever want to do that. I know agents who are like, I do not want to manage another human. It sounds like the most miserable thing ever and I don't want to do it. And that's cool because you can have a big business without having an employee. And when I say I'm level 4, I actually don't have any W-2 employees. So that's kind of cool. I don't have to do a whole lot of like, I mean, I support them, but I don't do like formal reviews. I don't have to give them a raise. I don't have to, right.
You just have them on a 1099.
I had 1099 workers. One permanent one, and she's contract. I don't tell her what hours to work. That's important. And I don't tell her how to do her job. Right, those are the 2 things that the IRS is going to get on you if you have an employee that you are treating like a W-2. You have to be in the office from 8 to 5. This is the script I want you to use when you answer the phone. So we get kind of tricky, you know, like I do have certain standards for how Rhiannon does her job, but I can't give her a manual and be like, these are the exact words I want you to say. And she's on my team, she's a cheerleader, so she wants to do, so we work together to come up with the best way to do things. So it can be like a fine line, but that's something to pay attention to, and you don't want to do it illegally. So because it's cheaper if you pay them than if you pay, because you have to withhold everything, you know, pay unemployment, all that kind of thing. So it gets a lot more complicated. So look at your list of things that you do in your 4 columns, and let's think of some of the ones that are in those 4 that we could get rid of and ways that we can get rid of them. So the first one that I'll talk about is showing assistant apps. So using Show It or Keys Please. Before those 2 ever exist, there's a girl, her business is called The Door Opener. Her name is Lauren. She's awesome. She's like on my text. She has had a website to pay her directly since before Keys Please ever existed. She was really ahead of the game. She also does junk hauling and cleaning. So if you have a listing that the seller left that morning as a complete dump, she'll go over and clean it up for you that day so that your buyer's not in misery. They'll do an open house for you. Although if you have a house to hold open, I don't know why I would skip it because that's a great lead generation activity. But if we get into the time of houses being on the market for 6 weeks and more again, and your seller wants you to do a second open house, that could be a good time for a Show It, because you're not gonna get as many leads on that second open house. Yeah, so I think, have any of you guys leveraged that, Show It, or?
I've used just the Rolls group,
Like the Facebook page?
Yeah. And I got someone when I didn't have to time to last minute run up to, where was it? Like Tequila. So I got someone, but I did pay him probably too much. I don't know. It was really far and it was really last minute and he did it. So yeah, it was money well spent because
I like Show It because they have suggested prices for certain tasks.
that's good. I think I just had trouble logging in and it was a last minute
frenzy,
so I wasn't set up for it. So
you can save favorite people. You make a good point. They can be a runner. Like I was at a class or something. I didn't want to leave the class and somebody needed the lockbox because the photographer changed their time.
Did they do sign placement too or no?
If you can arrange for the sign to be, you know, you'd have to
somewhere where they can get it.
It would be a 2-errand job.
Go
get the sign, go put it in. But yeah, why not?
I hate doing that too.
Do you use posts? Not usually. Okay.
Oh, what do you mean?
Hanging signs.
Oh, well, like directional, like if you're having an open house, you want to put those signs out or directionals for.
Do you have a post?
The main sign is
the main sign is
installed by the sign
company. So,
that I was done.
Gotcha. Okay. But directional signs out.
Just the directionals. An open house if I'm doing that.
So your sign company puts them out. Is it Reliable?
Yeah. They do the main one.
Yeah. Reliable Post is good. He was sick for a while.
Yeah, he's good.
He's good now.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
They also hit a
sprinkler once on one of my
a long
jobs.
time ago, but yes, I've asked them many times about that. My sister's boyfriend actually works for
Okay.
that, so I get the inside scoop, but they're really, really good at
Better
not
at that.
doing that. But
Well,
I do,
and when
but you do
I,
always tell your people like,
I added a thing on our checklist and
Yeah.
Rhiannon always asks, do you know of any utilities
Right.
that run through that area,
Right.
the front yard?
if they get it, they won't do it.
Yeah. We now use Post-it, which has a better online, I found. They have an app and you just get on and say, I need a post installed, they got it. And they will store your signs too. So 2 services that do the same thing, they're both great. Because sign installation is a pain.
I use the Easy Post from Farmers. so-
And I think Post-it too will put out your directionals.
Okay,
I
there was
thought it was kind of
somebody,
expensive, but
there was some app I found a couple of years ago that put out my open house signs, however, it was kind of expensive.
I feel like
in
it was
finance.
expensive.
It was
Yeah.
expensive to do, I'm like, I can't do that it's not worth it to do
Yeah.
that, but I can't remember who it was.
I kind of get it though, because it is one of the most miserable jobs, I think.
And it's.
Picking them up is worse, I think.
It's just,
I feel
I'd
like
rather just
I'm
leave them
Frogger
and just
and
get
hot
rid
yeah.
Just like,
I
it's
know,
fine.
every time get taken
and
anyway.
ready for my day to be over.
Yeah, you want that, right, if it's raining, you're.
So how about you, like a teenage kid in the neighborhood?
Yeah.
You can even ask your seller, like, hey, is there a kid you know that lives, or one of your kids that would want to do this little job for me?
Yeah.
Why do you use the like actual posts instead of like just, like the metal, like put the sign where you just kind of just slide it in the ground?
I think it makes a better impression when the buyer drives up to the house, and I think it's more visible.
Looks fancier.
It looks fancier.
It does.
I own a few of the, just put it in the ground, and I'll use them, when the yard is really small, or I put them in the window of condos when that's appropriate.
Right.
Or run out of other signs.
Or run out of other signs. Or if it's, there's some listing, if you're marketing a fixer-upper,
You're not gonna do that.
you're
You're not gonna put the big,
and it almost looks better to have the littler,
Yeah.
jankier looking one, because
Yeah.
like, this is a deal, come get
it's
it.
not setting your expectations,
Yeah.
like, I think this house is beautiful.
Right. It's kind of it's a mental
Yeah.
game thing, nothing else. What about marketing, design, you said
Social media.
Etsy, there's some great downloadables.
I use a lot on Etsy.
On Etsy.
I bought like a package where they created like my homestead exemption like mailers. I should like update them, my offer instructions, a lot of that. And then I do like monthly marketing to my farm. And so I just download a template
Cool.
and tweak it. And then, I have the UPS store mail it for me. So they put the addresses on, they print it, they mail it.
Love it.
They do all my just solds, and then I have neighborhood kids that will put out my like flags for 4th of July, or my
Okay.
door hangers, or if I do pop buys for the neighborhood. I just pay them to do it.
Great. Yeah.
That's what I need to do.
Now, part of the fun with Popeye is to maybe see them, so.
Oh, I do like door hangers though, like for the
Okay.
whole neighborhood,
Gotcha.
where it's like popcorn, like
Right.
just pop in by, you wanna sell your house?
Right.
Seeds,
Right.
yeah, seed packets.
Yeah.
I haven't finished yet because I'm doing it myself, so it's, need to find a neighborhood kid.
I have met recently 2 companies that do Popeye gift assembly.
But not, and
Design
yes,
and assembly,
Yeah.
whatever, and they give you 200 of them or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're pretty cute, and they have little like printed
Mhm.
dewlaps in them, and they're like $1.50 each, they're not bad. I have one in my office, if you're curious, I can show you one, because I thought it was pretty cute, so I saved it. Which says something.
Thank you for this stuff.
You're welcome. We'll see you soon. Okay. There are also real estate trained virtual assistants. Couple of companies out of the Far East that end up being very reasonable because wages are so much lower there. One is called MyAppDesk and one is called Cyberbackers. Cyberbackers seems to be really popular right now with a lot of agents. You hear that word a lot. My maps coach is using one. So like every week there's a cyberbacker
gal that's on our coaching call, and she takes all the notes and then puts it in the notes section of our next appointment. And I'm like, that's really cool.
So how would you use a virtual assistant for leverage?
So surprise, my full-time virtual assistant is, full-time assistant is virtual.
Okay.
She lives in Alabama. And she does all my listing input, all my listing marketing, all my contract to close. She calls my clients, checks on them. She plans all my client events. She designs any flyer, template, marketing material, anything like that goes out. What else she does? She'll do some lead gen calls if it's something kind of easy. She doesn't mind like circle prospecting with a script, as long as she doesn't have to.
She can tweak it, yeah.
Yeah.
What is circle prospecting?
Good. Circle prospecting is where you get a phone list. You buy a phone list for a neighborhood and you call all the houses.
Oh, okay.
And they call it circle prospecting because you do it in a circle around one of your listings traditionally.
Gotcha.
But you could do it. You don't have to have a listing in the neighborhood to do it. So a lot of times the script is, I have a listing, I want to tell you about it, and I want to invite you to come by at the open house. I'd love to meet you. Now people are calling a lot, like, I have a buyer who really wants to be in your neighborhood. Have you heard of anybody who is thinking about selling? So that's
What's reverse prospecting?
reverse prospecting is through FMLS. When you put a listing on FMLS, there's a button you can click that will show you all the agents who have a search set up that matches. And then you can email all those agents and say, hey, look, I've got a new listing that fits one of your prospects list.
We've heard about that through Ignite, but it's like so much I couldn't remember.
That's some good vocabulary, like that.
And
reverse
you can also
prospecting is
say on
super
reverse
versatile.
prospecting, if they favorited something,
Uh-huh.
or like if their client did, like you can see like a little heart next to it, or the light bulb, or even like the trash can.
Yep.
You know, so you can see like, if the client discarded it, then I wouldn't bother contact their agent
Right.
necessarily, you know.
Yeah, I just do like a select all the email addresses and do a blind copy email to all of them.
Yeah.
But if somebody hearts
I
it,
call
you might
them.
want to call.
Yeah.
For sure, because that agent probably didn't notice that.
Social
Our
media
client.
engineer, if you go, oh, you're doing class, how much does it cost to have an assistant like that who does basically everything your assistant does?
Yeah, so 1099, kind of low skill level.
Okay,
I think now the going rate is probably about $15 to $20 an hour,
okay,
right? And so you can definitely find full-time, you can definitely find part-time.
Yeah.
There are a lot of moms out there that would love to have a little bit of income for working during a school day. Just like 9 to 3.
Yeah.
Get some stuff done for you, and they're very talented.
Yeah.
Because they have some high-powered career job at one point. And they may not need the money, they just want something to be a part of.
Yeah.
So I think that makes a really great part-time assistant. And then you can grow to where either they can be full-time with you or you go find a full-time. Eventually, I think everybody benefits from having a rock star executive assistant.
oh yeah, I
Like
already know
$60,000
that mine's gonna
a
be,
year.
I wanna grab her, but I'm not to that point yet. I was a closing coordinator for 5 years. So
Oh,
that's why I
fabulous.
say that.
Okay.
Like, I know who I want mine to be.
You know exactly what
I
they
know
need to
exactly,
be.
and she would do it in 2 seconds.
Can I give you a little coaching
Yes,
tip?
please.
I would set up a separate bank account
Okay,
and put a certain percent of each of your commission checks into that and decide that when you have 3 months of her salary saved up, or 6 months if you want to be a little more conservative.
Yeah.
You can hire her.
cool, I'm gonna do that, thank you.
Because if she's that good.
Yeah.
You could hire her today and you would have a double business in 3 months. Cause she'll make that happen for you.
Right.
Don't make the mistake of hiring her and saying, woohoo, I have freedom, I'm gonna go shop,
Right.
I'm gonna go tan, I haven't been to the beach, and like, it's
Yeah.
tempting when you've been working so hard. That as soon as you get that little taste of relief of some of this busy work being taken off of you, it's very tempting to go like treat yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been guilty of like getting too busy. and
Well,
like,
you're the second
going
person
the
who
other
told
way.
me that. Katie Wilgor said, if you do get leverage, don't just go shoe shopping, like you need to go lead generate. I was
Don't
like,
waste
okay.
it. You need to do those 4 things with
Yeah.
the time that you gained.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And if they're talented, they'll make up for it. You know what I mean? Like they'll step in and they'll make sure the leads are there and that an even more talented one will hold your feet to the fire to do the lead generating that you're supposed to be doing. I see a lot that the personality traits of the assistant that agents hire is meeker than it needs to be. They don't really like working with people. They don't maybe have a lot of bossiness. You kind of want an assistant that's going to be like, Amanda, you're supposed to be on the phone from 10 to 11. Give me your cell phone right now.
Right, yeah.
Right. And you're like, oh yeah, you're right. I'm goofing around right now. Because her salary depends on it.
Yeah.
So when she's part of the game plan, like she's going to be like, dude, get on the
So
phone.
it's another motivator, that's perfect.
It is. It's built-in accountability. Rhiannon and I report stuff to each other on Slack. And so I do have to tell her when I've done that day or not done that day. And she's like, tomorrow? Like, what happened? Come on. So it's good to have that communication so where they know. I have found a lot of agents don't log into Command every day and look at their task list and make their calls from that. Surprise. And a system that has worked for more agents is an assistant who looks at that tag list, writes out the list of calls, hands it to the agent. Seems like a stupid in between step. But that's the kind of like, whatever makes you do it.
Yeah.
And then that agent makes their notes on the call sheet, hands it back to the assistant, who puts the notes in the CRM. Like, seems like kind of a silly.
That's what I need.
That's what you need. Yeah. There's no reason that can't be done virtually. They email you a PDF. You could pay somebody $20 a day to produce that list for you, bug you for it by the end of the day, and enter the notes in. You could probably find somebody on Fiverr to do that.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get to the point where you needed an assistant?
Yeah, I think it's more production level than time. I think once you're consistently doing 30 something transactions a year, I think it's definitely financially feasible at that point. And you can get to that point by doing things like hiring the contract to close people here in the office.
Right. We have a contract to close people here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I've literally just been here just like this month. I just got my license.
Now I feel like I'm just learning all the good stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
please do.
Catherine's right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So how expensive is that?
Are they up?
$375.
Is it only $375?
Yeah, and then they give you a bottle of champagne at closing to give your client, so you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about closing gift if you don't want to.
Yep.
$375 a transaction.
Yep. There's no reason to not do that ever.
Right.
And they'll do
It's so
listing
true.
input for $70. They'll write your contract, I think it's $40, $50.
Something like that.
So like, I mean, there's been times where like, I've been at a wedding and I'm like, my client wants to put in a contract.
Yep,
You
here
know.
are the basic terms.
Yeah.
Can you write that up for you? Yeah. Yeah, they're awesome.
Lift.
Lyft. That's just the admin part of Lyft.
Okay, so they're part of the LIFT program.
Sort of, yeah. They are. Not, they're separate.
But they're separate. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So the
It's different rooms in the same house.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Michael's Lyft program includes them.
Okay.
Okay,
You can have them without being part of his.
gotcha. I am doing LIFT, but only for 3 months and then I'll be back.
Okay, what have you thought about it so far?
I haven't started, I should be
Oh,
starting
okay.
next week.
It's gonna teach you some great habits. That's-
I've heard that consistently
Yeah.
across the board, like
Yeah.
so many people are more comfortable with scripts now,
Mhm,
cause you're just cranking it
mhm.
every day.
Yeah, I talked to somebody who's in it and he just says he's way more comfortable talking to people now. And that's really what I need. That's my #1 block right now is just talking.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going for.
Yay, good job.
I had to text him yesterday.
Okay.
Cool, yeah, good. I think it's kind of a great like 0 to 60 launch, you know? The only other thing that I was gonna talk about, I mean, I guess there's other options. I have people. I talked about Cyberbacker, I talked about My Outdesk. The other one I wanted to mention is called Belay, Belay. I think it's belaysystems.com or Belay. It's not belay.com, there's some other word. They're not real estate related, but they're an executive assistant placement company. And they are how I originally got Rhiannon.
Gotcha, so they'll partner you with somebody and kind of.
Yeah, and she was my second one from them. The first one wasn't so great, so I called them and said, hey, this one isn't working out. And so once Rhiannon had been working with me for a few years, I just bought her contract out because I was paying way more hourly to pay Belay and then take their cut. I just like cashed out.
I think the closing company will help you train yours, Lyft maybe does it too. But they'll
It's
like
confusing
train
who
your,
everybody is, yeah.
yeah,
I know that we have the Assistant
maybe
Institute
that's what I'm thinking
here
of.
in the office, and they'll
I
train.
think that's the training one, I did read that.
I've gotten mixed feedback from that so far. There's also the Perfect Real Estate Assistant that MAPS runs. And I like that one because it's a call for the agent and a call for the assistant every week. Because I've found that a lot of times the assistant isn't working out because it's the agent's fault. So the agent needs to learn how to be a good manager and boss, just as much as the assistant needs to learn the job. You know, it's important to stay in touch with your assistant, to have a daily like download. Here's what I'm doing today. Here's what I did today. Doesn't have to take long. A weekly check-in where the assistant can hold their questions until that check-in if they're able to, because a common agent complaint is my assistant keeps interrupting me with little questions. So let's have an agreement of when that can happen. You know, can we have a once a day and a once a week question session? Of course, if the house is on fire, you know, there's an exception, but because the common assistant complaint is I can never get a hold of my agent and I'm sitting here like not knowing what to do and she's too busy to tell me how to do something, and that gets frustrating. Lyft, there's other companies, the closing companies with our office too, I think still, they still pay to advertise there. Hello Leverage is another one that I really like. Fiverr is a great place to get really cheap jobs done. I do video editing through Fiverr. Fiverr. So you can get on, like if you do a video walkthrough of a house and you want to put like something pretty on the front and edit out some goofiness that you didn't like how it turned out, send it to Fiverr and probably for $10 or so, a video editor will fix it up for you and send it back to you.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so don't spend 45 minutes trying to figure out what video editing software to download and then 30 minutes actually doing it. Like somebody can just do that in a second. It used to be, it was Fiverr because everything used to cost $5, but
It's not anymore.
not anymore.
Yeah, the dollar stores crack me up. I'm like,
Yeah.
Nothing in here.
If you need a PDF edited, if you need, you know, like that's what Fiverr's great for, like just one-time things. But you can have favorite people there too, and, you know. At home, I think it's important to leverage at home. We've talked about that a lot because
I do a lot of leverage at home.
we've got kids.
What's that?
Just things that you can do at home, like hire a maid.
Yeah. So we get our house cleaned every week now, cause I hate it,
Mhm.
but then if I don't do it, then it makes my anxiety go up and then I can't do anything else. Because I like shut down.
Yep.
I send my laundry out. Every Monday they pick up my laundry and every Tuesday they return it folded and hung. It's beautiful. It smells
That's awesome.
nice.
Yep.
Cause otherwise it just stays in a pile on the floor, you
I
know?
can't wait to live this life.
You know, it's like, I have a babysitter, you know, and she works with us, you know, 4 days a week, you know, and that's actually, she works at my daughter's school too, so it's like she takes her from school, she'll take her home,
Yeah.
she'll take her playground, like,
Kids
she
chauffeur.
packs her lunch, I use Instacart, you know.
Yep, Instacart
love
counts as
Amazon.
leverage.
Yeah.
You know, like anything that you can do, so people tend to think like leverage equals I'm gonna hire an assistant. And really what I want to convey today is leverage can be any system, tool, or person.
that has been my aha of the day. Like, I did not know the showing agent app existed. That's so cool.
Yeah,
That's a great way to make money too, like when you first get started.
you
because
can
it's
go on
like-
there as a
Yeah.
runner or door opener.
Yeah.
And you can meet people's clients. I would
That's
love for
cool.
you presented as you are.
Yeah,
Because that's the thing, I want somebody who's presentable
Right.
to be there
and then you're previewing houses, you get to kind of practice on like other people's clients, you're not
Yeah.
like selling them the house, but you're like, oh yeah, this is this, or this is this, and
yeah,
you know.
it's a low pressure way to practice showing a house.
Yeah.
And that's through what?
Either show it or keys, please.
Keys, please?
It's got a Z.
Yeah.
Google it, there's a Z in.
Yeah, but that was like, I mean, that's how I made money for my first like 6 months.
Yeah,
You know, in real
Is sign
estate
up
was-
for, and if you have the app, you're automatically signed up to be either.
Right.
So it looks at your geography, I'll get a notification that there's a runner job available near me, and I'm like, oh.
This whole time.
And a lot of
I've
times
been doing that.
I get them in for the office too.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
It's like, and I'm like, this is our office, like, what is this? And it's like, oh, drop a lockbox, you know, pick it up here, and I'm like, well, I'm already here.
Yeah,
Like,
How much does that usually go for?
I don't know how much the app takes, but like I
I think a
pay,
couple bucks,
okay,
yeah,
I would say I pay
and then it takes a couple bucks from both sides.
$30 yeah.
Yeah.
$30 a door,
Okay.
so
And then if you find
you
something
might
where
get
you're
20
like,
of that, I guess,
Yeah.
I don't know.
yeah, it's like, I think you're like 25 or something, it's like, it's a pretty good cut.
Yeah,
But like, you know, it's like, if you have something, if you live in Ackworth, and you see a showing in Ackworth for $25, it might be worth for you to take it. But if you see a showing in Tequila for $25,
You're probably not gonna make
that's
money.
not
Yeah.
worth it, right? So,
but I've had people take my jobs that message me like, oh, I was at a closing up there anyways,
yeah,
even though they're normally down here all the time or whatever.
well, and I find like the people that I use, like that I found on Key Please, like now I just save their numbers in my phone and I'll text them first. So
Oh,
I'm
good idea.
like, hey, you know, my clients loved you, you
Yeah.
know,
Cutting the app out.
exactly, you know, and I'm like, hey, can you just go ahead and do this? You know? Or I know like if I have like an agent that I know lives in Gwinnett. So like if I have a showing in Gwinnett at 5 o'clock, I have my daughter, my time's at 6:30.
Right,
I can't
Yeah.
coordinate it, so.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's certainly,
Yeah.
you'll make agent friends all over the place that, you know, I'm texting people from this office sometimes, like, have a soccer tournament on Saturday and I have a client who really needs to see this house in Roswell, look, is there anybody that can do that for me? So agents will do favors for, and that's free, that's like, I'll get your back next time, kind of.
Yeah.
Or a Starbucks gift card left in their mailbox just for a thank you. The only other thing I want to mention, because I feel like people hear about all this stuff and don't know what it means, are the real estate platforms that all of the mega agents around the country are coming out with. Like you've probably heard of Place by Ben Kenny. It's like not even known. I think that it's a relatively decent idea for a new agent who's really sharp and wants to have like kind of a mega business right away. Basically, it's like expansion agent on crack.
okay,
So an expansion agent is, let's say Janice Overbeck decides that she wants to sell some property at the beach. She'll go find an agent at the beach, train them on how to do business Janice Overbeck style. And then Janice will lead generate in Florida for that agent and take care of all her contract paperwork and all that kind of stuff. So it's almost like just stepping into a system that's already created. And you still get your own branding there and, you know, but they've kind of created, well, now that was kind of expansion team. Now some of the bigger KW bosses are creating the software, the coaching, the lead gen. It's kind of like Lyft, to be honest. They've got their own CRM. So Ben Kenny has one called Place. Adam Herthrocker, who's a pretty cool guy. He has a great podcast of God in Business. He's a real kind of uplifting kind of guy. He started one called Liberty. And so there's starting to be options. So as Keller Williams, like I'm here because I like the cut and I like the cap. And I can do all my own stuff. And I like the way that I do it and all that. That's why I'm here. Keller Williams has started to see that there's a lot of agents who really want the dependent model of brokerage, where like we do stuff for you and you give us more money. And we don't want to lose those agents. So they're starting to come up with things like Lyft, where you can be an agent who wants to do it all or wants to do none of it, and you can be here and be part of our family. So that's starting to pop up, and you'll hear the buzz if you go to events and stuff about the dependent model. So you'll see that too, and that's a way to leverage like instantly. So that's something, now you know about it,
Without having to like join a team.
without having to join a team and like buy into that team's branding.
It kind of sounds like Lyft.
It is, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Lyft is our offices.
Yeah.
Attempt to have that dependent model here within our walls.
Yeah.
It seems to be going pretty well, from what I can tell. So, and if nothing else, it's a great new agent incubator to teach you like how to do the basics and be comfortable on the phone and all that kind of good stuff. Because there's a lot of us who never went through that and still kind of hate getting on the phone.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yeah, that's my thing right now. I mean, I'm all about like blasting to my neighborhood and social media and stuff, and then talking to people in person, at
Yeah,
social events, but to call like my old boss from like 10 years ago and be like, hey.
Yeah.
I'm real estate, let's sell your house. And
Right.
Find your house. Well, tell me about other people who may want to buy that house. I
we
just haven't gotten to that point yet. I haven't done any script practice or anything.
Right.
So I'm getting there, but I'm like her. It's like that just scary.
I think there's a scale too, like, I kind of don't think, this is recorded, I don't think you should call your boss from 10 years ago with a cold, random, out of the blue call.
It's disingenuine.
Yeah.
It's disingenuine.
Hey, you wanna buy my multi-level marketing? Like,
Right.
that's what it feels like to me. With, like,
Right,
Yeah.
when somebody from high school reach out and they're like, oh, you wanna try this?
and I only
You know.
say that, like, because the coach is supposed to make you do your calls, but, and. And once you've made some genuine calls, you know what genuine calls feel like, and then you can forgive yourself for not doing the ingenuine calls.
100%.
Like, once you make calls that are the right people, the right message, the right time, and it feels good, you're like, oh, that feels good.
Yeah.
And then you can be like, oh, that doesn't feel good, and I know why.
I don't want people to think that I'm, just calling them because I'm using them or
Totally.
I want something from them. So that's, because I don't want to be that person. So.
Yeah, well, and do unto others as you have done unto you. So, and then you try to think of another mode. Does it make sense to mail them a formal announcement that you're in real estate now? That feels genuine. Maybe message them on LinkedIn with a private message, because this is a business related platform, and be like, I worked with you once, I'm a hard worker and I'm gonna give this my everything and I'm really excited about it. That's how I would message that person.
But you always like, it's like the whole Keller Williams thing where it's like come from contribution too. So it's like, hey, I don't know if you know, but I, joined Keller Williams, I got my real estate license. We're doing an event with one of my favorite lenders at Silverton. And, we're doing a movie day. I just wanted to invite you. That's my DTD choose this month.
Yep.
Is, hey.
You guys know about the movie event?
Yeah. And I've heard the DT, whatever you said.
It's just it's do the database too, but it's just this is who you hit on, the letters that you hit on social media, text, and then calls.
It's 2 letters a week.
Yeah.
So that you divide your database up so that you call everybody each quarter.
Oh, yeah.
13 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then it also helps with when you have an event to do, you're like, oh, perfect, what's your email? Let me make sure I've got the correct email for you, and then you can update it in command. Let me send you the flyer, just make sure you RSVP. That way and then with Christmas cards every year, I call everybody, hey, I wanted to add you to my Christmas card list or my holiday card
Want to
list.
check my holiday card list?
Yeah.
Let me check your.
And then I get their address and I'm like, cool, great, oh, what's your email, by the way, while I have you?
Yep.
And then that's a really easy
Excuse.
transition to,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, and some of those old people, that might be a good way to just touch base. You know, I'm updating it because I'm gonna send some useful, informative stuff out. I wanna make sure I have all your correct contact information.
And then it's like a slick way almost of being like, oh yeah, you know, I'm with Keller Williams now.
Yeah.
You know, oh yeah, I joined Keller Williams. Everybody knows who Keller Williams is.
Right.
You know, you're like, oh, I joined EXP. They'd be like, who? What is that? You know,
Yeah.
not everybody knows.
Notice that brand.
Everybody knows KW.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, oh yeah, I got my real estate license. You know, I joined Keller Williams.
And now you've contacted them, so the next one, which is only gonna be 3 months later, feels a little more natural. And you can talk about whatever's, you know, we always kind of, like you said,
Yeah.
right now I'm doing based on the
movie.
event.
Right.
Next quarter, it might be about the market. Hey, I wanted to let you know, I've been studying statistics lately. I've been seeing this trend in the market. I just wanted to get the word out there to everybody I know, because I think that we're at the end of a pretty awesome opportunity. I don't want anybody to miss out. You know, that's just, I care about you and I don't want you to miss what's going on in the market right now. Or some new thing that
Or hey, it's stabilizing. I know you were thinking about buying.
right,
You know, are you ready to talk to a lender?
yeah. Market's getting less crazy. It might be the time to get to it.
I find like if you just come from like a genuine place, you know, it makes oh, by the way, who do you know that wants to buy or sell?
Yeah.
You know, any real estate. It's not as like awkward at the end of the conversation.
Mhm.
To be like, oh yeah, well, I have you. You know, who do you know?
Because usually it's been a great conversation.
Right.
And
ask about the kids, ask about the
I
job. ask about everything.
overestimate, I guess, the resistance. People are usually thrilled to hear from you. That's what I found.
Yeah, like I'm nervous to call my mom's friends that I've grown up with them in the neighborhood. And
Yeah.
I'm sure they would be more than
Oh
happy.
my gosh,
to
they'd be
talk.
thrilled.
Yeah.
They'd be like, what is going on with your life? I'm so excited.
Yeah, and I'm like scared to pick up the phone.
And also, every time somebody answers the phone, I write a handwritten thank you note.
I've been doing that too. I like the written thank you notes.
And people love it, you
Mhm.
know. And so like with your mom's friends, like they're gonna love it because of like their age. right?
Yeah.
You know, like that generation loves handwritten cards,
So
where
right.
like our generation is like,
Send me a text.
like, just send me a GIF on like Facebook and it's fine, you know.
Yeah.
But like,
Send me an e-card.
yeah, and with everybody though, I send a handwritten thank you note, like for answering the phone, or just, you know, I send handwritten birthday cards, you know,
Yeah.
I'll drop random like $5 Starbucks gift cards in the
Yeah.
mail.
For younger people, I always put a goofy sticker on my note. Because it's like sending
Yeah.
a gift in the mail.
Exactly.
So I have goofy stickers.
But yeah, I do a lot of cards, a lot of handwritten stuff, but it's another touch,
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
where it's like, yes, I just touched you with my phone call, but you might have forgotten the next day.
Yeah.
But then you get a card in the mail 2
You're
months
like,
later,
oh yeah.
you know.
Mhm. That's exactly right. And you want to try to be touching people 36 times a year through multiple media and channels.
You'll find too, like who you can ask for business and who you can't.
Yeah.
You know, some people are real turned off on
Yeah.
it, you know, like your boss from 10 years ago, maybe completely like, I have a realtor that I love, like I'm not sending anyone
Yeah.
else business, you know, and they might be like, oh yeah, that's great.
I have a
I'll
lot
keep
of
it in mind.
people in my database who either own businesses or in sales. They're fine. They're like, yeah, totally.
They get it.
They get it.
Yeah.
And you, how can I help you in your business?
Yeah.
What's challenging you in your business right now? And sometimes just an article, you know, that can help them, like you've really contributed to their, that's a Michael Mayer thing, because what's your biggest challenge right now? That can work for anybody.
And I always try to like support small businesses too,
Mhm.
cause then I get to feature them and then they share my post, or then they remember me,
Yep,
you know, when they have somebody.
yep,
Um,
got it. You guys will do great.
Thank you for all
Thank
the
you.
good advice.
You're welcome
I'm glad to do
anytime.
this.
Hi, Jimmy. We're just wrapping up a class. We are behaving. So we're just wrapping up a class.
Cool, how was it?
Very helpful.
Fabulous, did she rock it?
Yes, she
Always.
did.
She is smart, isn't she?
Yes.
I couldn't even spell Georgia Tech when I was that age. How's that spelled? T-E-A-C-H-E?
Wait, did you go to Georgia Tech?
I did.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.